This meeting is being recorded.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, the full screen, perfect. So the topic is on how can we use there maybe trees or add some elements to it that we might use it. So my name is OMayer, I'm a TRIZ master here in Germany, located in Bavaria. And I'm working for a company called Bayern Innovativ. This is a company that is due to support especially small and medium-sized enterprises for being and getting more innovative, and which is paid by the Bavarian government.
Dr. Mayer, sorry, we can see your screen but not presentation.
Okay, so this is, let me try.
You need to choose the right window, I guess.
Yes. Does this work?
Yeah, cool. Okay.
Okay, let's say it again. Yeah, there's an update with the Zoom that is showing different than other, but okay. So maybe, sir, you can see now the next screen?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
We can see.
So these are the sustainable development goals that have been defined by the United Nations. And what you see here are 17 goals in that part. And when you're talking about this and saying, yes, that's great, no poverty in the world, zero hunger, good health and well-being, we have also energy sector, we have reduced inequalities, sounds all great, but what does it mean? How can you work on this? This is very, very global, and we know that's especially what TRIZ is doing, is narrowing down problems to a very focused task. And these are very global, so that's just the contrary on what to do. So how can we, when we want to do something, a product in more sustainable, how can we do it? So the first thing, and this is a process, is where do we stand in an assessment? What are we doing well? Where do we have gaps? This is not so much related to trees, although there might be contradictions that you can solve. And that is, if you want making a standpoint, where are you? Second thing is to say, what SDG do you want to work on? And I always say, take one, maybe two, not more than three, because otherwise it will be too much. So concentrate. And then the next question would be, okay, if I'm working on that and I want to do something which is more sustainable, what are the measures that I can take for it to see if I'm getting more sustainable to the point in a way. So this is this one here. What are the matrix? What external reviews? So if you're looking at these points, these are all not directly related to trees. This is the whole process. And what I want to concentrate is what the measures are. So what can I do in order to do my product or my process more sustainable? And like it is from vision, that's the way we'd like it to be, the measures, and that's how normally it looks like. This is a reality. So how to bring the structure into that part? This is how we do it today, in a way. This is a very, let's say, simplified process. We are looking for a business model. We have the technology feasibility, where we have TRIZ procedures that can help us to develop a better technical solution and faster and more innovative. And then we have here, when it comes to user, customer, stakeholders, the design thinking approach. So what are the needs of the people? And if we want to do a real innovation, we have to bring them all together. And here is a cross-section that we do the real innovation. The point is that this will not be enough for sustainability. So what do we need to change? This is more or less here, this part, that we're not only looking for a person who is then using the technology, but let's say for social requirements, which are more generalized in that part, where the suggestion from my side is to use a pestle procedure and the 5 R's and SWOT, which I will show later, because if we're looking at the picture now, this is a green one. That's what we know, how to do a business model, how TRIZ works. I don't need to tell anybody here in this room. But here, what is that? How can we expand the whole stuff with these pestle procedure and how to integrate them with TRIZ? So that's what I want to show. Pestle, what can we do? How shall this look like in a way? Pestle is an abbreviation. If you're looking here for the first letters, there you find the pestle. It means political factors. What is politics driving through? Where does politics want to go to for sustainability? Then the economic factor, of course. Economic, normally I don't have to explain because everybody knows that stuff have to make money at the end. We have social cultural factors. So what do people expect? What do they want? Where do they want to go? How does this influence my product? We have the technological part. That's where we are often in there with solving trees. And the environmental factor, which is relatively new, that, hey, we can't do this so easily because we're producing CO2 or poisons or whatever, where we should avoid them. And at the end, legal factors. So what is law, where we cannot work over it or against it? What's the law? Versus political factors, where politicians or politics want to go to in the future. So these are the 6 elements. And by the way, what you see here is, here it's called pestle, E-L, and here pestle. It's just the same. The only thing that in pestle, the 5th point is legal and the 6th point is environment, but otherwise it's the same. There's also existing another word that's called steep. Steep is everything without the legal factors, or S-T-E-E-P. All 3 are more or less the same. There in steep, you calculate to the political factors, also the legal factors in that one. What is meant with the 5 R's? This is if you want a kind of a checklist to use what you're going to do. The first thing, whatever you identify to do, you could ask, can I refuse it? Can I say, no, I don't need it. I want to do something different. If you want, using TRIZ, it would be trimming. You say, I want to trim it. Can I solve the problem elsewise? If trimming, completely is not possible, then is there a question to reduce, to make less of it, to minimize it. If this is not possible, then can I reuse it internally, this resource, in another way? Or then recycle, which is external reuse for another purpose. You could, for example, I can make you an example on electric cars, where you have a battery, and it might happen that after several years, the battery hasn't got its power anymore or its dynamics. You say, well, that's only 80% of the capacity, not well enough for electromobility, but you still could use it as in storage in a household for the photovoltaic system. So this would be external reuse in another application, but still valid. And if this is not possible, then how to rot it, how to do composting with it, meaning disassembly and reuse of materials. So these are the 2 tools. And now we can see when we have the puzzle in place, what can I do to integrate here sustainability in that part? And I have explained now these 2 parts, and I have only short time, you know, in total, this would be a workshop of at least 1 day where one could go through here in all details. So I want today to give you an overview and the idea what is standing behind. So putting the puzzle together, what is the procedure to do that? First, I define the situation and the associated system components and supersystem components. You know this from TRIZ. I describe the system. Then I create a function analysis for the system. And the simplest is I define task for improvement. You know this. This is incremental improvement, standard TRIZ procedure, how it is. The next thing is that in parallel, I create also a process needed to create and dismantle the situation. So the cradle to grave approach, but also using here all the TRIZ tools to do this. And then comes a new part where I say this pester element, I add them as system elements to my function analysis, if you want, as fields. I just defined it as supersystem components in that part. And now I can, for each of these systems, to all the components that I have already defined, identify the functional relation between it. And by this, identify harmful functions and useful functions, of course, and by with regard to these sustainable development component or the pestle element. And by this, I'm getting the perspective of sustainable development into my function analysis, and then I can derive out of this also tools and improvement possibilities. That's what I can do with the contradiction matrix, with the 5 R's, design thinking, and whatever. And at the end, of course, evaluate the solution ideas. I want to show you this on an example, which might make it easier to understand. So I looked here for something where maybe everybody has an idea on what it is, an espresso cafe. So you can take also not an espresso cafe, of course, any cafe will do. So I say, what is the situation? I have here a cup, I have here a saucer, I have a spoon, my coffee in there, I get some cookies, I get a glass, and I get a water. So that's my situation. I want to know, can I make it more sustainable? Because glass, you know, takes a lot of energy to produce a glass. Here, as well as a spooner is metal, so resources. And we have here the ceramics in form of a cup and in form of a saucer in here. So what I'm doing is just, I'm doing a function analysis for this part. So, and I'm sure this is not totally complete, but I don't want to make it so complex that it's still readable and that you can follow in. So the function analysis, I say I have my target is a coffee drinker. He holds and moves the cup. Yeah, we have the saucer which positions the cup. I mean, you know how to do this with the wanted functions, with the insufficient functions, and with the harmful, which are in red, or with the extensive function, which is a big arrow. Sorry, it seems the format a little bit broken. That's my system. So the first thing I can very normally work on, and TRIZ incremental improvement, say, okay, what are the assignments? What can I do? Then I said the next thing is making a function analysis for the coffee as a process. So I need energy, I need water, water with coffee powder dissolves the coffee, goes to the coffee drinker moves the filter and fills in the coffee. Again, simplified model. But the interesting thing is I can expand it now. This is from cradle to grave, but I want to expand it from first resources till at the end disposal, meaning where does the energy come from? Does the energy come from the power grid? Where does the power grid get the electricity from? A power plant. Well, there it's generated by coal, which is fired and the coal I'm getting from a mine. So if you want, this is a little bit done like the CECAS, or the cause effect chain analysis, where I'm going down to the root cause. Yeah. After mine, I cannot do anything. I cannot say, okay, it took, I don't know, millions of years to generate the coal or whatever. So there is a natural stop. But also on the other side, the coffee drinker, he will have the next creation. He will get rid of the coffee. Then you have the wastewater treatment route where this pollutes it and then goes to the river. So what are the change here? And what I can then do here again, find out right away what are incremental improvements or questions. So just question, where does the water come from? Where does the coffee powder go? Where does the filter go? What about the overburden? Where do the exhaust fumes slack go? So by this, you get questions regarding sustainability where you can answer and work on. And by this, you extend your model in these areas. So this was step 3. Step 4 was, as I said, we're going back to the functional design. And there we say, okay, we add these pestle elements as fields round. And now I go for every of these elements, of these components, and I relate them to these pestle elements. This is what I've done here. I'm looking, for example, for sugar. And now I'm asking, politically, well, sugar creates job, it generates taxes, which is good, which is normal. Sweet stuff sells better for the economy, that's what we want. But also sugar on the social level produces diabetes, or it augments the BMI, the body mass index. Yeah, like me, getting a little bit more weight. And that one. Technological, I didn't found directly. This is, again, not complete. It's just an example in which areas to think about. And by this, you generate, again, here, harmful functions and useful functions. And now you can, as used, relate assignment. And suddenly, this task on how can we make coffee consumption sustainable gets very concrete actions packages. Yeah? How can I reduce the amount of energy needed to produce sugar? Yeah? How can I prevent soil from being depleted by sugar beet? This is very concrete, rather than make it more sustainable. And do the same also, for example, for coffee. Yeah? Same procedure, you take the component, allocate them to all 6 pestle elements and ask yourselves, what are the useful functions? What are the harmful functions? And then derive out of it, again, assignments. How can I dispose of coffee? Can I dispose of coffee powder? How can I make fertilizer out of coffee powder? And so on and so on. And when you're then looking with TRIZ, of course, there will be contradictions for solutions. You can keep in mind this checklist of the 5 R's, where you say, do I really need it? Can I reduce it, reuse, recycle, and compost it in a way? That's the basic idea on how you can incorporate, in my view, and as a suggestion from my side, these social development goals into a product and process development. And here are my contacts. If you have any questions or want to discuss with me about that, I think you got the files. I had them translated into Russian by DeepL, so I hope the translation is good, because I didn't understand anything. And I have 20 minutes done, so now I should be in the Q&A session.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mayer. We have not a question, but a comment from Anton Kozhemyako. Between points 2 and 3 on slide 17, I would add the company's main process, highlight its critical or crucial points, and then look through the structure via functional modeling. So any comments from you? Is it clear?
I didn't didn't completely get it. Is this in the chat or where?
Yeah. You can find the question in the chat if it's more cozy for you.
Yeah.
I translate the original question into English.
Ah, so
Yeah.
okay, it's in Russian.
Mm.
Then I have lots of difficulties. Can you then please repeat it once again? Might be easier than this time.
You can find the translation in the chat. I translate the question.
So between point 2 and 3 on slide 1 would add the company main process, highlight its critical or crucial points, and then look through the structure via function modeling. Yes, of course, but I would say this is standard. The question is which process or point do I select in order to incorporate sustainability in that one? That's absolutely can make sense. Often with the experience I had, and I was involved, we did this with photovoltaic modules, we did this with white dishes, so a washing machine for clothes, for a washing machine for dishes. We worked on this also in buildings. That was often that they looked first because it's the easier one for a product. So taking a product and then saying, how can I integrate their sustainability? But what's this? Anton Kocheman, sorry, not familiar to this language. You're right, you can do this, of course.
Yeah, we have one more question. You also can see it in the chat.
Yeah. The sustainability issues arise from the undesired behavior of a complex adaptive system. Yes. Don't you think that some dynamic system tools and modeling are needed to analyze the system behavior and develop some new solution in addition to TRIZ approach? I would say yes and no. Depends, of course, on the complexity. If it's complex, you need dynamic analysis parts, but still in these dynamic analysis, I always like to introduce these TRIZ approach with these harmful and useful functions and in their derivation, because this helps very lot to structure the process and the thinking. So that's why I wanted to combine this in a way. Of course, if you have models which are more dynamic, and we had them with the washing machines, but still we introduced there also the function parts and the dynamic behavior, because function analysis is a snapshot in time and not a continuous part. Of course, if you have dynamic, take them, bring them in. As I said, first approach to do that. And I don't anticipate for me that this is a final solution for everything. No, it's one step which I want to show. And if you guys have better ideas, and I'm sure that there are a lot of better ideas out there, try it, use it, go forward. I would be happy for that. So now I cannot hear you. What's happening now?
Саш, тебя не слышно.
Oh, sorry, I forget about this button. Oh, I have a question. If I understood you correctly, your method is quite common and unified for any product development and life cycle, right? Am I right? No?
No. It's not quite common. It's relatively new. The only thing is we tried it in some parts and some product developments with company where I cannot go into details, of course, because I want to save it. No, I wanted to say it's not just a theoretical model. We tried it on product and it worked, but there is anyway room for improvement. And I encourage everybody to try it out and to find out what is the best way for his project or whatever to adopt it. And I don't claim that this is the only correct solution. Yeah, it is an idea that I want to spread use it that way. And maybe if you're interested, you can give me feedback and say, yeah, listen, we did it this way and it worked better. This way it didn't work, or whether I want to share just with the community to further go into these areas what we are all facing.
Okay, thank you, thank you. More questions? Антон Кулаков, может, у тебя есть?
Нет, у меня нет вопросов, спасибо.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
I've just said we can think about further workshops dedicated to this topic. So I have a workshop for that. If you're interested, so we could do it.
Oh yeah, I mean between TRIZ Summit and your workshop, some.
Можно ли посоветоваться, Александр? Да, как раз я об этом хотел предложить. В вебинары TRIZ саммита включить тему анализа принципа действия и функционального анализа, который OMayer нам представил. Мне кажется, что там есть общее. Как, Александр?
Да. Mikhail Rubin invites you to take part in our future webinars devoted to such topics as functional modeling and different analysis. We guess it would be nice for our future cooperation. What do you think?
Yeah, you know my email address, so that's very simple.
Oh, yeah, we know.
So
yeah. Okay.
Write me, ask me, you will get an answer. This if it fits or no problem. Yeah.
Okay, stay in contact.
The idea is good. The idea is good. Okay.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Okay, now we have a short break for 15 minutes. Вот сейчас у нас перерыв на 15 минут, и мы вернемся в 14:00. And we will start our second part at 2 p.m. So now a short break.
Perfect.